Again, is probably the most athletic player on this team. And
why you would use that, especially when one call.
Just a horrible situation for them.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Hello and welcome back to Take a Side. I'm your host, Max McElroy. As always, go on to Sided.co or the Sided Debates app to post, like, and vote on debates to climb that leaderboard for a chance to win a $25 Amazon gift card. We have a great show for you today, as always. But to start us off, we are talking a hot topic in the NFL world. This offseason, the Rams traded 3 first-round picks to the Lions for Matthew Stafford and switched Jared Goff and sent him over to Detroit. Some media outlets have the Rams as Super Bowl contenders now, while others believe that the Matt Stafford praise is a little bit overhyped by the media. But I'm here with Blake Sevenbergen and Jack McGar to discuss if Matthew Stafford is as good as he is said to be. Blake, what are your thoughts?
Oh, I think Matt Stafford, I'm just going to start with my hot take right away. Matt Stafford is a different career team away from being a bona fide Hall of Famer with a ring. We'll start with recency bias. I don't even want to mention the Detroit Lions because they're terrible. Let's start with his recent play with the Los Angeles Rams and Sean McVay, who has won a great football coach. He played against the Bucs yesterday, the defending Super Bowl champions, 71% completion rate, 343 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks, 134 QBR. He's thrown for almost 1,000 yards this season, 9 touchdowns, and only 1 pick. Name a quarterback that's played like just as good, if not better, than Matt Stafford right now, than maybe Kirk Cousins.
I would say Tom Brady, Derek Carr right now as well. There are a couple quarterbacks that are playing near Stafford's level right now. I agree. Stafford's game yesterday was beyond perfect. I mean, he played an exceptional game against the defending champions, and I give him that. But I think what we look at for Stafford is we have to discuss his Lions stats. Of course, the Lions weren't a good team, and I agree with you on that. But if he's an elite quarterback, as you're saying, then I feel like he would have had more success, especially in the playoffs where he's 0-3, and he's only been to the playoffs 3 times. I feel like he would have had more success in the playoffs.
Yeah, I won't shy away from that. His Lions tenure was not great, but outside of Calvin Johnson and Golden Tate, name weapons that he's had realistically. Name a running back that he's had that was good. Name a coach. You got to have a good football team. You have to have a good coach.
Yeah.
Jim Caldwell and Jim Schwartz and Matt Patricia are not cutting it. I'm sorry, they're not cutting it. The Lions' defense has not been good. The Lions are a bad football team. They've been a bad football team. And Matt Stafford still has consistently thrown for over 4,000 yards, almost near the top of the league in touchdowns, always had a good QBR. I mean, Matt Stafford's been putting up numbers. He's been in the league 11 years, 12 years now, and his numbers have never been bad except for in 2010 when he was hurt.
Sure, I agree with that too. And I think the main argument with that is he is on a bad team, and I think, especially as you alluded to, he hasn't really had a good running back or a lot of other weapons, really. So when you don't have a running back like that, you're going to pass more and you're going to have more yardage, you're going to have more touchdowns because of that. I think when you look at stats when the Lions were going 2 wins, 1 win even when Stafford was playing, of course, Matt Stafford did have some good seasons. I mean, they went 11-6, I think, or 11-5 one year.
11-5,
Yeah.
yep.
I mean, he did have some good season with them, but I think when you're playing for a bad team like the Lions, I think his stats are a little juice in that fact.
Yeah,
So.
I think you're 100% right there. But Matt Stafford, I want to bring this up too. You know, everybody loves the Patrick Mahomes no-look, sidearm, weird arm angle throws that Patrick Mahomes has been making since he got to the league. Matt Stafford's been doing that since 2012.
Yeah.
Matt Stafford's one of 8 quarterbacks ever to throw for 5,000 yards in a season. Look at the footballs he throws. I'll pull up a video sometime and show you Matt Stafford throwing it sidearm, no look. Look at the pass he threw to Deshaun Jackson last night, 75-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
He might have been wide open, but Stafford put it in a basket for him.
Yeah, that was a perfect throw.
I mean, I just feel like right now, there's not a quarterback playing better than Matt Stafford. And the only reason why Matt Stafford isn't where he is now and why he hasn't been there the whole time is because of the situation he was in before.
And I agree with you on that because I think right now with the Rams, he's in a great position. I think the Rams, honestly, in my opinion, are going to win the Super Bowl this year. Their defense is spectacular. Their offense has so many weapons. And Stafford is, like you said, a great quarterback right now. But I think I can't call him elite until I see some playoff success. And I see some success like he's having right now. If he keeps this up the whole year and he wins a ring, maybe even another one with the Rams, I could easily call him elite, but I cannot right now with no playoff success.
Yeah. I will agree the no playoff success is a big hinder to that, but the Lions are so bad. The Lions are so bad. I think Matt Stafford is elite strictly because of that fact. I mean, he's been that whole team the whole time he was there. He was the Detroit Lions. And now they traded him. I mean, Jared Goff got the Rams to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Now imagine what Matt Stafford's going to do. Matt Stafford is night and day better than Jared Goff.
Well, I think to that point, too, if Stafford doesn't get them to a Super Bowl, I think that hinders this argument, and we might not be looking at Stafford in the same light.
You might be right. You might be right. I think we're going to have to agree to disagree on this one. I think Matt Stafford's a great quarterback. I think he's one of the best in the NFL. Now I think he's always been one of the better players in the NFL when he's been in the league.
I think I agree that he is great. I do like him as a quarterback, but again, I cannot call him elite right now because he has not shown me success right now.
Yeah, we'll have to see how the rest of the season plays out. Let's send it over to a commercial break.
For students searching for a way to stay active in an outdoorsy way, the City of Lawrence has bike trails running in every direction, and with the new bike share program, we can stay in shape as we tour the sights of our beautiful city. Clinton Lake is only a short 30-minute bike ride away from Daisy Hill and has the most incredible sunset location in all of Lawrence. Walking campus may give you the KU calves, but biking can give you the KU thighs. Bike Lawrence today.
Welcome back to Take a Side. So I'm here with a very special guest, Cameron Ezer, a student at Syracuse, and we're actually going to be talking about conference realignments today and where Kansas will end up. And I want to hear, Cameron, as a student at an ACC school, why should Kansas join this conference?
Max, first off, I don't know how special I am. Maybe that introduction was you're hyped me up a little too much, but I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. I mean, it's a wide open conference, and you've seen it with Syracuse in the ACC. Down in the non-con slate, SU is already 3-1, and this is a team that had one win a season ago, and many expected to falter even in that non-conference slate and heading into ACC play. But why I think Kansas should join the ACC, it takes almost a much bigger picture model. The ACC is wide open, but still has a lot of big names within it. Clemson has lost 2 games, which is shocking. They're down to, number 25 in the country. I think they had like a streak of 97 straight weeks in the top 10. That's absolutely ridiculous. They're out of the top 10. It looks like they might be unranked soon. North Carolina is, playing second fiddle to Clemson. They've already lost 2 games. You're talking about a Virginia Tech team that was then the only or one of the only 2 ranked teams in the ACC behind Clemson. They've already lost a game. This conference is wide open, but still has plenty of names to, at least revere. So if you're talking about a Kansas team that still wants recognition, but still wants a chance to win a few games, the ACC is the place to be, because you're going to beat teams like Wake Forest. You're going to beat teams like Pitt. And the only place, the only place to do that is in the Atlantic Coast Conference. So Kansas, come join. Why not? You get the recognition, and you can pick up a few wins along the way.
Yeah, and Kansas falls this past Saturday to an ACC opponent, Duke. They lose 52-33. They scored a lot of points, however, gave up, a lot more points than that. So Duke, and I would say it's definitely upper echelon of the ACC in terms of football. But switching over to basketball, these are the 2 big money makers for each and every college. So where will KU fit in for basketball?
Well, I don't want to shy away from football just yet, because you're talking about the 33 points you just put up against Duke. That's going to happen against most football programs in the ACC with such poor defenses. But yeah, going over to the basketball side of things, again, it's an ACC that is, jam-packed with a lot of huge names that might not be as good as the names have said in the past. So, of course, you've got a team like Syracuse that has made the Sweet 16 3 out of the past 5 years. And then you have Duke. You have North Carolina, 2 teams that a couple of years ago, no one's beating those 2 squads. All of a sudden, you can. And Kansas is a very talented program. You join the ACC, you get the opportunity to play Duke. North Carolina, Syracuse, groups like that on plenty of occasions. And not just do that, but you can also play teams like Pitt, NC State. I've already mentioned Wake Forest. There are so many teams within the ACC that have such big names and, individuals that can really prove themselves. If Kansas gets wins over them, that bumps up their strength of schedule. If you're the Jayhawks, you should want to join the ACC because this is the conference, where you want to be. It's against good teams that might not be as good as their name has said in the past.
Now, talk to me about going into now the future, looking at the ACC and then this new, basically, generation of the Big 12 with Houston, UCF, BYU, and Cincinnati joining. How do you think those conferences are going to compare, looking up in the next few years once those teams can join the Big 12 in 2023?
Well, the Big 12 is going to be very impressive. The SEC is going to be much of the same. So it's on the ACC to maybe not just add teams, but also up the competition, up the game level. And if you're Kansas and you want to join a conference that can add a couple fresh new faces to an already stacked slate of teams, it's the ACC. And of course, the Big 12 is going to look good. We already know the SEC, but those conferences are a little too packed right now. If you're looking to exit your conference and join another one, it pretty much lies on what? The Pac-12? It's kind of falling apart right now and probably doesn't have as good of competition. And the ACC, it's going to be very interesting to see how those conferences line up, especially because there's a bunch of conferences where there's so much talent. How are you going to judge strength of schedule? How are you going to judge the ability to be put on a higher level and in the higher echelon when so many teams are so talented? If you're any team that's not in the Big 12, that's not in the SEC, you have to make sure you're either, held pat within your conference and you enjoy the teams that you're playing, or if you're going to get out of there, I think that the most luring destination is the ACC, because it seems like that is the most constant conference. It seems like that's the most structured conference. It doesn't look like the Atlantic Coast Conference is falling apart anytime soon. Guess what? The ACC, Notre Dame just hopped in last season and it seemed like everything was fine. It actually just upped the level of play within the conference. It's going to be really interesting to see how the Big 12 and SEC forms with those new teams. I think competition just gets better. If you're another team that wants to compete within those conferences, it's not about joining those two. It's about creating your own name in another.
Well, that is awesome. Thank you very much for joining. Cameron, where can everyone find you? Give us your Twitter, other things that you're doing, and where can people find you at?
So on Twitter, it's at Ezair, Cameron, Ezeir, and then Cameron spelled normally. I also do the Sided podcast. I've done a couple episodes with Max. It's kind of like Take a Side, but in podcast form and probably a little less professional. I love your guys' setup. We kind of just scale it back a bit and make it all in Premiere editing. But the Sided podcast, it's at Sided Debates on Instagram. And then on YouTube, it's also Sided Debates. We have 39 episodes up there debating all sports that you love and maybe that you like and takes that you might hate. But that's why we're here. So I've done a few episodes with Max. It's been a fun time. Go check us out there.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Cameron, for giving your 2 cents. We appreciate you coming on. And then everyone else, we will see you after the break.
On the boards out there, guys. This is your territory, Grimson. Do your job.
Grimson.
Hello?
Hi, honey. What? Now? All right. The itsy bitsy spider climbed up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain, and the itsy bitsy spider climbed up the spout again.
I love you, Daddy.
I love you too, sweetheart.
Hey, it's my girl.
My daughter.
Love. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
Welcome back. For our next debate, I am joined by Marina Seaver and Ryan Atchison to discuss the MLB playoff race. Specifically the AL wildcard race. It has come down to basically 3 teams, the Yankees, the Blue Jays, and the Red Sox. And I'm going to start with Marina. Who do you think is going to take the AL wildcard?
Yeah, so Ryan and I were actually talking about this earlier today, and we came to the conclusion that we agree that we both think that Boston will take one of those wild card spots. So now the conversation that we need to have is, well, who's going to join them? Who's going to play them in that game that we think? And I'll just start with you. Who do you think it's going to be?
Well, right now, it's so close, but I got to take the Yankees in this one. And the reason is because the Yankees just know before October, they just know how to get that extra push to get into the playoffs. Have they been successful in the playoffs? Not so much. You can thank the Astros for that and possibly the Dodgers. But with the Yankees, they acquired Anthony Rizzo during the middle of the season, the trade deadline. They also acquired Joey Gallo, 2 good hitters. Now, their pitching staff is still a little weak. Zach Britton, their reliever, him going out was not really good for them, and especially in the bullpen. But right now, they also got a scheduled game tomorrow, so we'll see how they do the next 6 games. But they got the Blue Jays, and they also got the Rays coming up. So tough schedule, but I think if they can prove it, if they can take 2, 3 of those games, 4 of those games maybe, I think they're securely in. And I think just this team overall has got the hitting ability. Just can that pitching staff get them over the limit? That's going to be their determining factor.
Yeah, the Yankees have been really on and off all season. I'd argue that they're one of, if not the streakiest teams in baseball. And so, yeah, what I think it comes down to, you brought up schedule. Honestly, the fact that we only have 6 games left in the regular season, what I think is going to be the differentiating factor here is the next 6 games that the Yankees have to play, and who I think will join the Boston Red Sox in the AL wildcard game is the Toronto Blue Jays. And the reason why I think that purely comes down to strength of schedule that they have coming up. The Blue Jays face the Yankees in a 3-game series at home in Toronto, and then they hit the road to play the Orioles, who the Yankees have lost to 8 times this regular season, I believe, which is a huge reason why the Yankees are not in the automatic in for the wild card, is because losing that many games as the Yankees to the Orioles when you're way better than them on paper is just pretty unacceptable. But so the Blue Jays have the Yankees 3 games at home and then hit the road for 3 games against the Orioles. The Yankees don't have that advantage. They play the Blue Jays on the road, and then they have Tampa Bay, which is obviously the AL East has clinched that division. So I just think what it's going to come down to is Toronto has the easier stretch, and Toronto's 2 games back from the Yankees. And I don't know, it could be interesting. We could be seeing a potential Game 163 play-in game. But yeah, I just think, yes, the Yankees are perhaps a better team, but it's this next 6 games where in crunch time the Yankees are streaky, especially if they're not on the hot streak. I don't think they have a chance at all. And I think we're going to see Toronto and Boston in the AL wildcard game.
Well, let's talk about the next 3 games that each team has. They're playing each other in Toronto starting tomorrow and through the next couple days. And for game 1, they got the Blue Jays got Ryu on the mound, and then I can't remember who the pitcher is I can't remember, but it's really for the Yankees. It's going to be important for them to take game 1. And the reason why is because Ryu has struggled his last 2 outings. He's only gone 2 innings. It's gotten roughed up with 7 earned runs and 5 earned runs allowed in his past 2 outings. So if they can get to him early and get to that bullpen and make him pitch a lot, maybe that will hopefully make their bullpen tired throughout the series so they can maybe take game 2 and maybe take game 3. And they got Garrett Cole in game 2, who's been phenomenal for them. And he's not pitching in a home run park with Yankee Stadium. So I think for the Yankees, if they can get game 1 and take that and go from there, that they have a good shot at taking the series, if not sweeping the Blue Jays.
Yeah, I would agree that it is going to come down to pitching, but something that's really interesting about the Blue Jays, and I say interesting because I don't think it's something that we would have anticipated heading into the season, their starting pitching has been putting them in a position to be winning. And that's not something that we really anticipated, because you get a guy like Robbie Ray back to his 2017 All-Star level self in Toronto. Who would have thought that? Certainly not me, and I've always been rooting for him because he played on the Diamondbacks, which is, of course, my hometown team. So I just think it's great that, it is going to come down to pitching, which makes things exciting. Again, if the Yankees start using up the Blue Jays starters and getting to them, you're going to need better performances from guys like Nate Pearson and things like that out of the Toronto bullpen. But I don't know. I think it's going to be an exciting series, and I don't really have a super great reason of why I think that the Blue Jays are going to take the series against the Yankees, other than I just feel like they will. The Yankees are too streaky. The Blue Jays are young and hungry. I'm excited for it regardless.
Yeah, me too. Sure. It's pretty much this series is going to determine who's going to get that second wild card
I would agree.
spot.
Okay, well, we're going to throw it back over to Max. Thanks for sticking with us.
And that is all the time we have for today. We really appreciate you coming and joining us today. We will see you sometime next week. Be sure to follow us on all of our socials at TakeASide.KU, and always go onto the Sided.co and Sided Debates app to post your debates, like, comment, all that good stuff, and try and get that Amazon gift card. And also for KU students, we are still doing the hat giveaway. So if you follow us on Twitter, create a debate on Sided.co and make an account. You just let us know, and then hopefully you'll be able to win a hat. So thank you very much again, and we will see you next week.